Franz Wagner's back. That's about the only good thing to say about Thursday's game, because just because the Stars are back apparently does not mean the problem is fixed. In fact, it got worse today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is January 24th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode, and as well on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, Franz Wagner's back. That's good. We're happy about this. But it does not fix a very serious problem with the Orlando Magic's offense. Why the Magic's problem is so much deeper than we thought. I'm going to explain that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And you can make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day with the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, with one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thursday started off so good. It started off so good. We knew Franz Wagner was questionable. We got a hint that he was going to play. We spoke to him at shoot-around. Everybody was playing coy. They announced he was available and playing before the game. This should have been a celebratory day. And look, Franz Wagner played really well. Yes, there were some rust mistakes. Yes, there were some issues. There were some things that he clearly needed to get rhythm with, especially defensively. He turned the ball over a little too much, but 20 points, 9 for 19 shooting. Started to get to the drives and all the ways that he likes to score. Hit his mid-range jumpers. The threes didn't fall, but what else is new? 4 rebounds. A block on the first play of the game. That's the kind of energy and the kind of lift the Magic needed, the kind of confidence that they needed. But that's where it stops. That's where anything positive I have to say about this game stops. Because we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for Paolo and Franz to be back, to be on the floor for the first time since October. We have been waiting to be whole again. And while, yes, Jalen Suggs and Goga Bitadze are still out, Goga's on the way, Jalen's on the way, they're both coming, everybody knows it. This was supposed to make things better. Having 2 players who could attack and create was supposed to create open shots, create some movement, create something to loosen the offense a little bit, to rectify this extreme weakness that has only gotten worse over the last few weeks. This is what we waited for. And look, one game is not enough to draw any drastic conclusions. One game, especially a first game back for a key player, is not enough to say this is who the Magic will be. Paolo Banchero had the worst game of his career. Honestly, this is the worst we've ever seen Paolo play. I'll talk more about it in a minute, but he was 1 for 14. The Magic at any level are not going to win many games when Paolo plays like that. Just plain and simple. 5 turnovers, 1 for 14, 0 for 4 from 3, 6 for 8 from the line, missing 2 free throws. 9 rebounds, 6 assists were good. He was active on the glass, but just not enough, especially with the Magic still down so many key players. The presence of 2 star players was supposed to make everything easier. Instead, it feels like weeks of, frankly, offensive ineptness has really seeped deep into this team. What I saw on Thursday is a team that is not confident, a team that is not sure of what it's doing. And quite frankly, even if it's just subconscious, because I don't want to put too much on them and assume too many things, a team that does not only trust each other, but does not trust themselves. The score says it all. Portland Trail Blazers 101, Orlando Magic 79. The offensive and defensive ratings say it all. The Orlando Magic had their worst offensive rating of the season with an 84 offensive rating. 84 points per 100 possessions, going up against the number 26 defense in the league. The defense did its job. A 105.2 defensive rating will get the job done. They still lost by 20. They were still out of this game. They still did not give themselves a chance. Orlando did not score more than 21 points in any quarter of this game. They shot 34.2% from the floor. 6 for 25 from three, a season low in three-point attempts. And 21 of 31 from the foul line, leaving 10 critical potential momentum building points on the line. And yes, when they needed to get stops to kind of break through and give themselves some momentum, they didn't get them. But even then, only 13 points off 15 turnovers. They were 3 for 9 shooting on fast breaks, 9 fast break points. They were 15 for 39 in the paint for 30 points, outscored 58-30 in the paint. They had 22 turnovers for 22 points. They did not score their 23rd field goal until there's about 5 minutes left in the game. This is plainly unacceptable, plainly not to this team's standard, plainly not to any NBA standard. Offense is a problem. We knew that. This is not a scoring team, but it can never be this bad. I read off all those stats. Those are all numbers that tell you this offense was bad. Why was this offense so bad? How do you have an offense with Banchero and Wagner doing what they do, as unselfish as they are, not find a way through? Well, look, some of it was, Paolo Banchero was really bad. Some of it was Paolo did not have the scoring push that the Magic need. At the same time, he was facing a wall of defenders. At least 2 defenders in his field of vision, with a third coming from behind on his first move. A lot of that's because nobody is afraid of the Magic shooting. Just like the Toronto Raptors did, the Blazers pressured the Magic's ball handlers all the way up the court, slowed down their pace, sped them up, but slowed them down so they're eating more shot clock and not getting set deeper into the shot clock. And then they sat on passing lanes that they know this team likes. And then they were fine letting the team shoot. The problem is the Magic didn't shoot threes. They hesitated. They were unsure. They passed up open shots. Like I said, the Magic shot a season-low 25 three-point attempts. Shooting fewer threes did not help the Magic in this game. They were afraid, or they looked afraid. They looked like they did not want the ball in their hands. They looked like they were unsure of what to do. They looked like they were trying to squeeze the ball into tight corners. When the ball swung to them for open shots, they hesitated. That allows the defense to get back to you. That allows the defense to rotate back to you. That makes it harder to score. I said this during the game. You're going to call me crazy for saying this, but I stick by this. I would rather see the Magic take and miss 53 pointers if they're good shots than do what they did in this game. You cannot be afraid, and you cannot play without confidence. And that's the problem right now. That's the biggest issue this offense faces. It's not about making or missing shots anymore. It's about believing you can make the shot. It's about staying locked in on the details and executing the offense and believing you're going to make the shot, even if the data and the numbers and everything else tells you it's not going in. Be smart. Don't jack up threes indiscriminately. That's not who this team is. They are an inside-out team. But right now, teams are loading up so much in the paint, pressuring the ball so much, and daring this team to find three-point shots, to break them. That's what they got to do. They got to be smart about how they drive. They can't get into tight corners, and they got to trust each other that the three-pointers are going to fall. Playing without confidence, playing without trust, that's the sin. And I don't think it's anything conscious. It's not like guys don't like each other. It's not like there's problems. It's subconscious. This team has missed so many threes this year that, I think that doubt has crept in. And the Magic got to find their confidence again. Unfortunately, the only way to do that is to do it, is to have it, is to fake it until you have it. Because nothing is coming easy right now. I don't know if a new player fixes it with the trade deadline coming up in 2 weeks. But they need something to change the script. At the end, honestly, that something might be Jalen Suggs and his unending energy. This was a low-energy game, even on defense. Even though the Magic's defensive numbers look good, this was a low-energy game. The Magic didn't look like they were very much into it. Getting Goga Bitadze back and having that vertical spacing on both sides, his screening, his rolling to the basket, another kind of point to put pressure on the paint, sink the defense in, and get you open threes. Wendell Carter's not doing that. The Magic shouldn't need to have everybody available to function offensively. They functioned offensively fine with just Franz Wagner shortly after Paolo Banchero's injury. They can be better. We know they can be better. But right now, they are in such a major rut. Right now, they are in such a bad spot. You can feel that weight. You can feel the pressure that they're under. And you can feel them struggling to find their way out. Nothing about this team is going to change until they fix this, until they find that confidence. And it can come from getting out in transition, getting easy baskets off your defense. Just seeing the ball go through the basket 2, 3, 4, 5 possessions in a row goes a long way. But this team doesn't have it right now. And a second straight embarrassing loss better bring the urgency up and the focus and the intention and the intensity up, because the schedule's only getting tougher here for a little bit. Saturday against Detroit is a humongous game for the standings, and it's not easy. So how did the Magic get out? The only way out is together. I'll talk a little bit about that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings, whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The question now then, this is done. Game's over. Magic sucked. This awful game. It's done. This 5-game losing streak, it's done. It's happened. You can't go back and take it. They've been on a 5-game losing streak already this season. The world is not over. The season's not over. We'll talk standings here in this segment in a bit. The question now is, how do you move forward? How do you make this better? I want to make sure I say this note because I do agree with it. Jamal Mosley said that they anticipated, as they continue to reintegrate players and bring players back from injury, that there would be hiccups, that they wouldn't be perfect, that they'd have some ups and downs as guys get used to playing again. Franz Wagner was fantastic. Struggled a little bit on defense, struggled with his 3-point shot, obviously, but he was great. He's going to have a bad game here. He's going to struggle a little bit. He's still trying to find his rhythm and get himself kind of back into the flow of games. It's been 2 weeks since Paolo Banchero returned. And there have been some really good moments, but there's still a lot of processing that he's doing and driving that he's doing that he's struggling with. And yeah, how crowded the paint is hasn't helped. This was a bad game. 1 for 14 says it all. 5 turnovers, a lot of them really ugly. Losing the ball, getting his shot blocked, like just not being strong with the ball. It's rough out there. It's rough right now. But he will get better if everything goes right. Maybe he won't, but he should get better. The Magic have no choice but to play through this. And look, trade deadline's in 2 weeks. Let's not pretend otherwise. Talk about Anthony Simon's game in a little bit as well, but the roster's not changing for the next 2 weeks. They'll add Goga Bitadze here probably in the next couple days. Would not shock me if he plays Saturday. Monday certainly feels a little bit more likely. He's entering those last phases of the concussion protocol. Jalen Suggs, I would imagine, will be back before the start of the West Coast road trip next Thursday in Portland. So it's going to be a very different game. The only way out is to play through this, and the only way out is together. Like I said, watching this team, it feels like they don't trust themselves. And that's death. That's the game. You can see the frustration. You can see them struggling with this, but you also see them pass up open shots. You also see them hesitate and not make quick decisions. Everything just feels slow. And look, they could say all the right things, but they are not immune to the same emotions and frustrations that we are as fans. When you miss an open shot, it's frustrating as a fan because you worked hard to get that shot. It's frustrating as a player knowing you got that shot. And when you take that with the whole season shooting about 30% from 3, it only adds to that frustration. The Magic know they can and should play better. Just plain and simple. They know that. The only way out, though, is to stick together. For you to get back in the gym and work, for you to watch some tape, figure this out. This is the group. This is the team for now. We know they are capable. We are disappointed today, not because they lost, but because we know they can be better. You lose a game, you lose a close game, you fought hard, all good. Sucks, painful. Get back and do it the next day. What has sucked about the last 5 games is the offense looks lifeless. The defense looks lifeless. They don't look like the team that built the cushion they've lost. And the only way out is to do this together. The only way out is to figure it out together. I don't have a complicated answer. Could the Magic run cleaner sets? Could the Magic run sets to get more guys in motion, to have a little bit more motion in their offense? Absolutely. This offense sucks right now. And it's not just personnel. It's a little bit of tactics. It's a little bit of guys aren't working well together right now. They're just off kilter. And some of that is, yeah, you're adding new players. It is not a complete coincidence that the Magic are struggling since Paolo Banchero returned. Paolo is a very unique and different player. Before he left, they didn't run a lot of ISO plays. Now they are. Now they're looking to set him up for shots. Maybe the Magic need to do a little less of that. Get Paolo involved in actions and a little bit less in ISOs. But at the end of the day, it's on Paolo to make quick decisions, to make the right decisions. And sometimes he's not doing that. A lot of times he's not doing that. It's on Anthony Black that when the ball swings to him to shoot and shoot with confidence, in addition to being aggressive, if the ball swings to him and he's not feeling the shot, attack the closeout. It's about these quick decisions that the Magic are not making. Jamal Mosley can only do so much. And I'm not going to completely absolve Mose here because I do think that the offense has been very stagnant and hasn't involved a lot more motion and kind of cutting. But at the same time, I watch these players. They're not moving the ball quick enough either. They're not making quick decisions or flowing into the next set. There's things to simplify. Mose absolutely needs to do that. But the Magic are not in a flow right now. But they got to find it. And I do believe this. There's going to be a breakthrough game. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know who it's going to be against. But there will be a breakthrough game. And that will relieve the pressure enough to help this team find some consistency. We hoped it would be the first quarter against Toronto. I'm not going to pretend that it didn't happen. But the Magic got tight after that. And you could feel and see them get tight. Just like you could feel and see them get tight in this game. We are in a different race now. We are in a different set of circumstances. It's not that being the 4th seed is a distant dream. Magic are 4 games back of Milwaukee for 4th. They're 2 games back of Indiana for 5th. 1 game back of Detroit for 6th. They're sitting in 7th, tied with Atlanta. Atlanta's 22-22. Orlando's 23-23. Half game ahead of Miami. And they're a solid 3.5 games ahead of Chicago for 10th. They're 6 games ahead of Philadelphia for 11th. They would have to have an utter collapse to miss the postseason entirely. Knowing their schedule and what they have ahead, knowing that they're still going to get key bodies back. No offense to our friends from Detroit. Very excited for them. Very excited for Saturday's game. I'm confident the Magic are going to finish in the top 6. Same thing with our friends in Atlanta and the Hawks. I'm still very confident in what this team can do. They're in a rough patch. And the fact that they're in such a rough patch should tell you that, yes, a trade needs to happen. A new player, some offensive focus needs to happen. This stretch of games over the last 2 weeks cannot happen if you're trying to accomplish the things the Magic want to accomplish. Plain and simple. Orlando's 2-8 in their last 10. That cannot happen if you're going to be on a title track. But until the deadline in 2 weeks, because nothing's happening until then, the Magic have to find their way out. Even when they add, or if they add a new player, it's going to take this group coming together to find their way out. It's going to take trust and confidence and love and all those buzzwords to get themselves out. They can do it. They've got to believe they can do it. And if they don't believe, this is going to get worse. If they don't have confidence, if they don't have trust, this is going to get worse. The beatings will continue until morale improves. So let's dive into the box score. Let's talk about individuals. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Talkspace. Therapy is a game changer. It's something that I've used throughout my life to help manage stress, to communicate more effectively, to kind of get my feelings off my chest and find a way to view the world a little bit differently. But finding the right therapist and fitting sessions into a busy schedule can be a challenge. That's where Talkspace comes in. Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, makes getting the help you need easy, accessible, and affordable. With Talkspace, signing up is simple. You can match with licensed therapists who fits your needs usually within 48 hours. And it's convenient. You can have sessions from the comfort of your home and even message your therapist between appointments. Plus, Talkspace is covered by many insurance plans, and for most insured members, there's a $0 copay. It's never been easier to prioritize mental health. As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA and enter promo code SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA and enter promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA, promo code SPACE80. Okay, let's rip that Band-Aid off. Let's run through the box scores. The Orlando Magic fall to the Portland Trailblazers 101-79. I lied. There are two good things that came out of this game. First was Franz Wagner, 20 points, 9 for 19 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3, had a bad miss, 2 for 3 from the foul line, 4 rebounds, 4 turnovers, 1 block. Block came on the opening play of the game. I was really happy with how Franz played. First game in a couple months. He really showed out. I thought he did a good job kind of testing and kind of finding his rhythm in this one. Second quarter especially just really got downhill, got through those step-through moves, found some space. He's so good at kind of squeezing and finding opportunities to shoot. He had a couple nice finishes around the basket, a couple nice mid-range jumpers, but you could very much tell this was his first game. Still made a lot of mistakes. Defensively, especially, I didn't think he was particularly into it. Wasn't super physical. Got blown by a few times. That'll come, and I think just some of it is just getting that timing down. So a lot to like with Franz back. I think the Magic are ultimately a lot better because Franz is playing, just like they'll ultimately be a lot better because Paolo's playing. But he really, I thought for a first game back, played really, really well. And again, just a good starting point. Happy for him to be back. Obviously, you wish the game was a little bit more competitive. Tristan da Silva was the only other good player in this game. 16 points. I'll lie. There's one other good player that we'll talk about. But 16 points, 5 for 8 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, 4 for 4 from the foul line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Game just fit naturally coming off the bench. Again, his intensity didn't change. He found his pockets to score, made his three-point shots, which helps a little bit, and just always found a way to find the ball. So this is what we thought we were getting from Tristan da Silva. He's been really good this year. He's had his ups and downs as a rookie, but a really solid showing. I think he'll work really, really well off the bench. Again, the Magic are probably just missing a creator more than anything else, and he'd benefit from that too. But a really strong showing from Tristan da Silva. Can't be upset about him. Only other guy that I would say played well in this game, Jett Howard, 10 points, 3 for 6 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3. I thought that he came in, was able to just spread the floor. I don't think his impact was immediate. He scored a lot more toward the end of the game, but just him getting back, being a threat from beyond the arc, being a willing shooter, like that guy's not turning down a shot, which a lot of players on this team did. I thought Jett provided good energy for the minutes that he gave. They were, again, little too late. Might have gone to him a little bit earlier in this game. I'm going to just say this. I don't know why Caleb Houston is getting minutes still. Like he had some good defensive moments. He had a nice deflection. I think the defense is the reason, but Caleb Houston's 0 for 2 from 3. Just he is there to shoot, and he's not a shooter. He's just not a good enough shooter. And that's just hard. Again, this is, you could go down the list of Magic players who are like, that guy's supposed to be our shooter. He doesn't shoot the ball well. Like, okay. Davis Caldwell-Pope didn't make a 3 in this game. He was 2 for 5, 7 points. Thought he was aggressive off the dribble. But again, just the Magic are struggling to generate quality 3-point looks for their 3-point shooters. And that's part of the problem. Da Silva got some, Houston got some. It's a mess right now. Like, again, I don't know what to say. This offense is just not good. And that frankly starts with Paolo Banchero. 1 for 14, 0 for 4, 8 points. First regular season game without at least 10 points since Thanksgiving last year, 2023. Had 5 turnovers, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. So again, it wasn't like he was all bad. He did some good things, almost had a backdoor triple-double. A lot of guys missed shots. A lot of guys passed up shots off his passes. But he made a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of, especially when players were missing shots, a lot of kind of trying to duck his head in and drive straight to the basket, right into the defense. Jabari Walker had 6 steals. A lot of them came from just being active with his hands and Paolo being really loose with the ball. Again, it's just not attentive right now. Like, again, that's the thing. It's attention to detail. It's being precise. And these are the things that especially a star player has to be. They have to be precise. They have the ball in their hands so much. They're going to make mistakes and you got to let them go, but you can't make simple, silly mistakes. If you're going to make mistakes, make aggressive mistakes. Paolo made a lot of silly mistakes. He exposed the ball a lot on his drives. He got the ball blocked and taken away from him on several occasions. I would venture to say this was the worst game Paolo Banchero has played in his professional career with the Magic. It was just really bad. And he couldn't find his rhythm, couldn't find his legs. And you could see the frustration written on his face. I'm sure I've said this at some point over the last 2 weeks, and I don't think we should totally pin this on Paolo, but you get your energy from your best player. Am I shocked the Magic scored only 79 points in the game where Paolo Banchero went 1 for 14? I'm shocked they scored 79 points because that's just absurdly low. Am I shocked that they struggled so much offensively with Paolo struggling to shoot like this? No. Am I struggled their defense looked a little out of sorts? No. Because you get your energy from your best players. They set the tone. And the Magic have Jalen Suggs. You cannot help but play hard when you play with him. He will take you kicking and screaming on the floor to die for that loose ball. You watch him play, you want to match his energy. You can't help but match his energy. Look, Paolo Banchero is not the same guy. I don't want him to be the same guy. But we know Paolo can play with a fire and an intensity that does bleed to everyone else. That he can play with a cool and calmness that bleeds to everyone else. When things go wrong, Paolo stays even. That's not happening right now. Right now, you can feel the frustration coming off of him. That bleeds to everyone else. This is not like I am being critical of Paolo Banchero because he has earned that responsibility. He has earned this responsibility to be this team's leader. I know he's coming back from injury. I know he's still on a minute restriction. I agree with Coach Mosley. We should give him some grace. We should give him some room to make mistakes and ease himself back in. But the bottom line is this team takes their cues from him, and he's not giving the right cues for this team. The change has got to start with him, both from a production standpoint and from an attitude and an energy standpoint. That's the challenge. That needs to be the challenge for him, especially while Suggs and to some extent Goga Batadze, the two kind of energy guys on defense, especially when they're out. When Paolo plays the right way, this Magic team can function. When he's playing like he's been playing for the last, let's say, week and a half, they are going to struggle. And again, some of it is he is still working his way back. I'm going to give him grace and give him some allowance for that. But this was not it. This was not good enough for a player that is so important to this team, even with his minute restriction. Look, he played 33 minutes. He's about to his regular minutes anyway. It's time to ask him to be what the Magic need him to be. Anthony Black, 12 points, 5 for 11 shooting. Love his aggression. I like that he's getting downhill the basket. Missed some transition shots early in the game. I think he had 4 shots like right off the bat. It was like 1 for 4. So started at deficit, but he was aggressive. My big issue with him was he passed up open threes. He was 1 for 1 from 3. I don't mind that. He doesn't need to shoot a lot of threes, but he needs to be decisive. And there were a lot of times where Anthony Black gets the ball and gets stuck. He drives, gets trapped, gets caught in a tight space, gets stuck. There are a lot of times when the ball swings to him for an open 3 and he pauses instead of either attacking or shooting. This is a big issue for the entire team. They've got to be decisive. Quick decisions. I'm a big believer in this. Don't make the wrong decision. Make the right decision. Make the right read. But if you're going to make the wrong decision, commit to it. If you're going to make the wrong decision, go with it. There will be teammates. There will be help to get out of it. Because generally, you're not just making the wrong decision, make the wrong decision. You're making the wrong decision like, oh, I thought he was going to close out hard. I pump faked. I drove by, tried to drive by him. he recovered. Let me kick back out, start the next set of actions. That was what wasn't happening in this game. Is the Magic hesitated, the defense recovered, and that secondary action just was to flow into next wasn't there. Final player to talk about, scapegoat of the game, scapegoat of the season, Wendell Carter. Wendell Carter played 23 minutes. He was 0 for 4, 3 for 4 from the floor, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, had a really nice block, but 3 turnovers, 2 of them coming on frustration offensive fouls in the third and fourth quarter. Dell is struggling. You don't need me to tell you that. He is the official scapegoat for the Magic fans this year. His lack of vertical spacing is a real problem. Anytime he gets the ball near the basket, it's really hard for him to score. He is not an explosive leaper to begin with. It sure feels like the foot injury that he had and the plantar fasciitis that he had has sucked him of his explosiveness and his ability to leap and power through contact. And with the way he's shooting the ball, which also affected by the injuries that he's had, it makes him pretty hard to play. I still think he's playing well defensively in general. I think that he's still doing a lot of really good things. I don't think he's as much of a scapegoat or as bad as a lot of fans are putting him out to be right now. The offense, though, is non-existent. And that is a problem. That is why Goga Bitadze is the starter now. Because he has to be a threat to score. And right now, it could be in the paint. It could be from 3. Wendell Carter is not a threat to score. That is a huge, huge problem. And again, it's part of the kind of long-term thing that the Magic were successful despite a lot of players struggling and a lot of players not meeting expectations. I think right now, not only are we seeing the injuries catching up to the Magic, we're also seeing that catch up to the Magic. How players have not performed to expectation, and so thus, the team is no longer performing to expectation. They survived it for a long time because Jalen Suggs took a leap. Franz Wagner took a leap. Paolo Banchero took a leap. Now those players have come back to earth because of injuries, or they're not playing because of injuries. And now we're seeing a lot of players for this Magic team who needed to improve, who needed to be better, who regressed in very significant ways. It's another reason why it does feel like a trade is coming, because the Magic got better as a group, but did not get better as individuals. And that's being exposed when the puzzle isn't perfectly fit together. Right now, it's rough right now. And the Magic are really, really struggling. The Orlando Magic fall to the Portland Trailblazers 101-79. They are back in action on Saturday night at the Kia Center against the Detroit Pistons. That is before they start a 6-game road trip that starts in Miami on Monday and then it heads out west next Thursday, starting with this rematch against the Portland Trailblazers. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Find me on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. For even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. As if all that's not enough, you can find the Locked On Magic daily newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rosenreich. Stay warm out there. Have a great weekend. We'll see you after Saturday's game against Pistons for another episode of Locked On Magic.